Why Pawn Stars is totally fake. For those of you who don't know, Pawn Stars is another edition of American reality television. We've all seen the Kardashians and Storage Wars, but this is another show that takes it a step further. It airs on History and is produced by Left Field Pictures. And if you had to guess where it was produced, well, that would be none other than sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. It seems fitting that in a town known for gambling, a business that is basically about haggling for money over possessions would take root. The world-famous gold and silver pawn shop is where all the action takes place. And this is a 24/7 operation. The family-run business doesn't shut down for the evening time. In fact, that's when the clientele are often out full force. Pawning their junk and treasure is another means to an end for them. They get the almighty dollar, which they can promptly stick in the slot in hopes of a bigger payout. One would think anyways that everyone who visits the shop is a gambler, but sometimes they're just regular Nevadan folks out looking to get a little bit of money to pay their bills. They certainly have it made in the shade when they can come day or night to the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop. They are greeted by a friendly face, and sometimes the patrons even have the opportunity to appear on live television. At least, this is the kind of picture that we get about the show and its dealings. But not everyone seems to believe that it works this way. Some think it is heavily scripted and that the interactions are really just actor actions. The store was opened in 1989. The main player in this game is Richard Harrison, who was sometimes just dubbed Old Man. He has a son named Rick Harrison, who also was a part of the operations. And if this wasn't enough of a family business already, they've enlisted Rick's son, Corey Harrison, to come work as well. To tell them apart, the viewers can often see Corey referred to as Big Hoss. Corey doesn't necessarily want to be the only young guy there, though, especially surrounded by so much family, although that family drama does make for good television. Corey's childhood friend Austin Russell has also been welcomed to the fold. They call Austin Chum Lee for good measure. So there's evidence that the operation didn't start just for television. The business was already well underway by the time it aired in 2009. If the family was planning on going for television, it would have been a strange business plan to wait a whole 20 years just to get a single episode. Also, in the late 80s and early 90s, it wasn't necessarily a thing to be on reality TV. The closest encounter to reality television that generation had was America's Funniest Home Videos, hosted by Bob Saget. Back then, filming something in real time to air on television was kind of unheard of, and the participants in AHFV didn't expect a large payout either. They all flocked to send in their films, and out of the lot, only a few were chosen to be worthy enough to get airtime. And then, as the icing on the cake, only one of those videos really cashed in. People didn't see the entrepreneurial ways of reality filming back then. They were more worried about capturing their children's special moments on their new video recording cameras. Flash forward to nearly a decade into the 21st century, and we have the network's #1 hit behind Jersey Shore. The fact is, the family would have gone about business as usual if they had not been approached by Brent Montgomery and Colby Gaines of Left Field Picture. So transitioning to camera was not even in the family's business plan to begin with. Gaines and Montgomery got the idea for reality pawn, but they didn't exactly like the climate that they were looking at. The Las Vegas pawn shops were a range of zany and sometimes even sketchy locals. It didn't seem like running a crew out of one of those places would be possible. However, the two-man team did not give up hope just then. They saw the potential of Las Vegas and that it was perfect for showcasing how unique the Strip and other parts of Vegas could be. They noted the clientele on their visits. These people had unique stories that came along with their equally outlandish artifacts. If the guys could just find the right niche, they would be all set. So the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop must have looked like a mecca in the desert. It was run by a crew of very tight-knit individuals. In fact, most of them were blood relatives, and they had the right location as well. They had braved the wilds of Las Vegas. Their operation was well established, so it's not like it was going under anytime soon. However, it seems since 2001, the old man Rick Harrison got a bite of the acting bug, or just seemed to see a vision of his shop behind the big screen. The show has been featured in a 2001 PBS documentary, and then after that, Rick Harrison went to pitching his big production opportunity. It was fortuitous that the men from Left Field Picture found his store finally, but it wasn't completely out of left field on the other hand. That doesn't mean, though, that branding has not gone into Pawn Stars. Harrison initially wanted the shop to be filmed at the Gold and Silver's night window. He thought it would be perfect for HBO, to whom he pitched it. The network, though, turned down the Taxicab Confessions mirrored query. So the potential show got a makeover before it began. It all boiled down to a bit of showbiz politics and preferences. The History president, Nancy Dubuck, decided they would produce the show because it would balance out the other content, mainly featuring military feats. She wanted something that appealed to the masses. While they wanted at first to keep with the branding of the History Network by calling it Pawning History, they later succumbed to the theme of the town in the show title. After all, Las Vegas is about gold, glitter, and money, and even stars. Some of the biggest musical acts in the world have their residency in Las Vegas, including Britney Spears and Cher. It's a place where classic stars are memorialized, and everything, including the wealth of the rich and famous, seems within reach. So Pawn Stars became a fitting and accurate title of what was to come in the show's content. History buffs might just have to change the channel, but a whole new demographic of audience would flock in for the show. The show brings in experts to help appraise the gold and silver. This just helps to add to the authenticity of the show. But also, there is a dollop of good old-fashioned family conflicts. The thing is, these conflicts could be edited out, but they aired for everyone. The show does have creative power to highlight the frequency of this conflict. In a segment, they might want to edit in more of the problematic scenes to enhance the drama and possibly boost ratings. It's all up to the discretion of the network. But it's not secret that Dubuck never asked them to pipe it down. One part of the show that is heavily scripted are the narratives. These narratives are actually done by the employees of the store. They mainly give a play-by-play or rundown of what kind of fights the characters are having. However, these plot sequences might be more just insights into personal perspectives than adding any new information. Most of the time, the employees would want to explain their side and their thoughts regarding a matter rather than simply to vent. It all has to be written down first, and there are writers to help to explain the synopsis eloquently. Just like any show that has a real basis in reality, many people come to the store now looking to catch a glimpse of the action. While the store used to get no more than 100 customers per day, now that number has skyrocketed. There are probably around 1,000 per day, according to measurements taken by staff. Everyone wants to see the store that they watch regularly on television. It's now not just a four-man operation. The building has expanded, as well as the staff, having up to 30 people on payroll. Of course, this infamy might bring in people that would never usually go to the store. They might stage their presence a bit in order to be featured on TV. A lot of people love being filmed in America, so there is a high probability that they play it up for the camera a bit. No one can really know, as it is down to the integrity of the visitor. With more visitors, there is more material to choose from to feature in each segment. It is losing a bit of its authentic feel because it is not purely a family-run business anymore. There are more personalities, and with that, there is depersonalization. The employees might not be quite as involved in one another's lives as when the show stayed smaller. There's not a lot of butting heads over who will cover the night shift. The operations are more streamlined. There is more money coming in from television funding, so the pressure to make those sales is not quite as high. One might not get a truly authentic pawn experience watching the show. The experts keep the employees honest, and this might not happen in a regular pawn shop. The expert is the shopkeeper, and it's up to the management's discretion whether they will make money on an item. Also, regular pawn shops usually require receipts or proof that the goods are not stolen. This shop has all of the heavy lifting taken out of it. They simply just defer to the authority of retainer if anything is questionable. And there won't be people who slip through the cracks often on live television. Certainly, there might be less police officers coming in trying to track down stolen goods. All in all, Pawn Stars tries to retain an authentic experience based on their 2 decades prior in the business. The president of History Network was attempting to bring in a variant demographic for the duration of the seasons. The show has proven that many people are indeed interested in the happenings of pawn shops. There is a market for what the show presents. In terms of whether it's fake, no one knows 100% if all of these events would happen if there wasn't the glare of the cameras. Television production can add more stress, and people can play up their personalities if they are encouraged. It can be more about egos and less about the business operations when the added dynamic ensues. In order to get a proper read, a person would have had to have been there from the beginning. That's why the narratives from the 4 key staff members are key to letting the viewers know what the pioneers of the store are thinking. And even if a writer helps out, the perspective of the key player still shines through. There are certainly more scripted reality television shows out there aside from Pawn Stars. It is really up to the preference of the viewer as to if they feel that the experience inside their glimpse of the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop is not authentic enough.